Well, this is the first thing. Like I said, this is a Morse 2 taper. Let me just tap that out. You can see here this is a sealed bearing, and it's just machined to where it's a nice snug fit right here on the end of this arbor. So this is going to keep this arbor from moving at all. It's definitely a snug fit too. And all it does is go up in here, and of course go against the, go under the arbor there, keep it from moving out. Take it into part. Here's our nut, the threads I made. Now we got a keyway in this, which was cut. These spacers here will come off. There's our key, 1/4 inch key. Fits right into here. These are spacers that move the gear around where we want it. Now I had to do a little cleaning up here on the shaft with just some sandpaper and stuff, just to get some of us on. It looks like this keyway right here's probably sticking on this gear. I mean cutter, not gear. I'll just take a rubber hammer and just tap that thing off there. Probably just need to clean my key up more than anything. Anyway, this cutter should come right off. You can see that they're marked how big and what size, and this is I got 3 or 4 of them off of eBay. Some of them are like this. This is a slitting saw or small saw. It does the same thing. It goes over the keyway right there. Looks like I need to trim that keyway down a little bit. Right there on the edge. Anyway, I got 3 or 4 of these. Here's a really nice one. This is a big old hog. Now it's got a little stranger keyway in it. Looks like it's a little bit of a round one here. It won't go over this 1/4 inch one. But anyway, this is a pretty healthy looking cutter. It is a 1-inch shaft. I'm sure that that'll be good for something. And what else we got here? Another cutter here. Of course, the keyway, you can tell right there that that's a 1/4 inch key, and this keyway is just too small for it. So anyway, I got 3 or 4 good cutters here, and they will fit on this 1-inch arbor that I've made. Everything is really tight, so tells me that I did a pretty good job on putting most of this together. I don't want to even tap the stuff on anymore than I have to. Just makes it harder to get off. But anyway, that's an arbor. I'm going to go ahead and pull this key out of here and kind of clean up this end right here. Make sure that whatever is going on, it's clearing that end pretty good. And then we're going to put this slotting saw in here and try to take a pass with it and see what happens. Alright, we've got a 1/4-inch slotting saw. I've got it more or less centered in the arbor. Everything is all put on here, tightened up good. I'm going to bring this up until it touches off. This is cold rolled steel. We're just going to try to see what this particular saw will do cutting it. There's the motor. Drive. Let's bring her up until we touch off. See what we got here. Unfortunately, I didn't lock this arbor down. I have no tools big enough to really do anything. So we're just gonna go slow here. I'll have to get me a drawbar or something in here. I'm just bringing this up to touch off again. Okay. There's a touch off. It just locks up the motor. So that means that I'm going to have to figure out a way of getting a drawbar on here before I go any further. I got it tightened down some. It's actually locking the spindle up and stopping the motor. So we're going to try a 5/1000th cut here. I think that should be enough to test on this mild steel. Like did pretty good. Let's try another 10/10,000th. I might be running it a little fast. Pulling 10/1000th off a mild steel really good. Just going to move it over now and just go to the side here about half of that dimension. And try another pass right next to the one we just did. All this is kind of experimenting. I think this cutter is running way too fast. There's the one edge. We'll be approaching the other edge here shortly. It now chips pretty good. Actually, a pretty nice cut across there. So, looks like the one little cutter turns out to be working pretty good. Change things around and try something a little bigger on it. Alright, one of the things, I don't have a tool that's big enough for this, so I got myself a piece of mild steel. Now I took 2 or 3 passes. That's probably about 40 thousandths deep right there. It's doing a pretty good cut. And all I'm doing is I'm taking about the width of the cutter. I'm just cranking it in to about right there. I'm just taking off 40 thousandths the width of the cutter. Seems like it's pulling it pretty good. I think I've got the speeds about right. Kicking that chip's good. I have to do something about these chips. I don't know what yet. It looks like the little arbor's working really good. I don't know exactly how deep that cut is. We'll measure it here and find out. I measure it up. It's 90 thousandths deep. I measured the size of the nut here. I'm about 50 thousandths short on that. I cranked in 50 thousandths, and that should be the taking that opening down to the dimensions I want. And I see that it's taken, like I said, the dip to the cut is 90 thousandths. So I'm going to try dialing in 50 thousandths and see if it'll take a 50 thousandths dip cut. Right on this one here. Probably going to lock up, but at 20, 30, 40, 50 thousandths. That's half as deep as that cut is already. Let's see if this, I'm going to take a 50 thousandths pass. No problem. Alright, good enough for that. Let's run her through and see if we can't take another 50 thousandths. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That would be 100 thousandths. Let's see what 100 thousandths will do. Oh, it'd be just another 50. Test on 100 thousandths will be whenever I move it in the width of the cutter. So that looks pretty good. Let's run this through here again. Now I'm gonna just move it in almost the width of a cutter, and that should be 100 thousandths. We'll see what happens with it. This is mild steel. I'm not using any lube on it at all. And that's taking 100 thousandths without any trouble at all. discoloration on anything. Yeah, that's good. Yep. Now let's bring her over the full width. Take another 100,000. Actually, doing better than I thought. Taking 100,000 for lobbying. Not even slowing it down. So let's see if I can get 200,000 out of it. So it looks like it's taking 100,000. No trouble at all. If I could have this in the other way where I could run it lengthwise, I could probably take off that whole 3/8 inch piece there one pass, but this should be plenty good for what I want. I'll go ahead and finish up this wrench and we'll try something else. Alright, I changed cutters. And you can see right here on this, this was deep as that other cutter would go before it started contacting the spacers here on the shaft. This is a little different cutter. It's not as wide, but it's a little bigger diameter, so it's cutting a little deeper. Now, I'm not exactly sure where we're at, but I'll try to raise this up a little. Yeah. That's about as good as we're going to get it. Got a few thousandths there. And so we're just gonna cut it that deep and see if that's gonna be good enough. Let's run this up against the 0 here. All we're trying to do is make a wrench that is going to fit on this nut right here so I can tighten this whole thing up. Those little cutters moving along pretty good. I could probably speed it up quite a bit. I'll continue that and I'll just finish machining off this piece here. Now this cutter made 3 or 4 passes and then started chattering, and it's really not cutting real. Starting to blow sparks and get real hot, which I'm sure means that it's dull and not really cutting good there. You can sort of see the heat discoloration there. Yeah, and this cutter don't look like it's that good a shape. That's what I get for buying used ones. This one here is obviously still in good shape, but it's kind of small. It really won't cut deep enough. And I think this one was also in good shape, and but it's got a little tiny keyway in it there. So anyway, I'm going to fool around some more here and see what else I can put on this shaft, and see what else I can get cut into this tool I'm trying to make. Alright, little cutter died on me here, so I can't really cut that. I'm trying to make a nut that's round, or a wrench that's round. It'll fit in here like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a end mill into where I've got this face mill, or the cutter arbor, and I'm going to turn the vise around and try to finish milling that out with a round end mill instead of cutters, because I don't have any more cutters that's going to fit this. Well, here's our next little problem. I can't get the arbor out of the spindle. I really don't have any room to bang on the thing back there. I tried to sort of use this like a slide hammer. It's not really doing us any good that way either. So what I need to do is make some kind of something that's going to go around this and into this slot right here. Right now this crescent's not going to work because I've got a tapered end on this, so I need to have a square end and a tool that go over this little bigger than an inch spindle, kind of like a pickle fork, just to drive it in right here and force that this spindle out. So I'll continue to try to get this thing out of here and then move on to the next part. Here was the solution to that. Put a 1-inch box in, which is the biggest one I had, around the spindle, and then struck it sharply with a hammer. Looks like I've got a little score there where it spun. I'll clean that up before I try using the spindle again. That's probably why it's stuck in there. Anyway, I'll have to make a special tool for getting that out, but I think at this point a 1-inch wrench and a good smack with a hammer and it'll come right out. Alright, we got the vise turned around here. I've got an end mill in it that I know is pretty sharp and will work good. I've got a live center in it to hold it from chattering. We're going to try just to hog the middle of that out in some kind of a round fashion until this wrench will fit around the nut. We'll fire it up, give it a go. I left my rod in there. bring her up till, whoa, I guess I should be doing this with a little more gently and paying attention to what I'm doing. Just touching off, we'll see what kind of edge we're grinding off here. Doing pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down and use both hands here. Alright, what I've done is dial in about 10 or 15 thousandths. I'm just running this in by hand. Just milling the middle of this out, and then I'm just watching it over here till quite a bit of chatter here, so run another 10 in. Just trying to clear up enough in the middle of this path here. Another 15. Clear the nut. And I've tried running it in. I'll get it over here closer to the edge of the cutter. That's doing a little better on the cutting. Doesn't want to climb at all, it wants to chatter. So anyway, this is not the, it look like my live center's really putting a lot of pressure in on it. Probably tap it in a little. Yeah, this should take a little of the chatter out. Back it up. Put another 5 in it. Yeah, that calmed her down some. Basically, this end mill is not really the ideal scene for this. Well, really not too bad. This mill is by no means a new one, and I'm getting a fairly good cut there, but not really good enough. I think I'll have to spend some money and get some either these sharpened or good mills. I've got another good mill, but it was too big to fit in here. Here's the nut, and it looks like it's going down in there. Let's see what the edge looks like. All right, Looks like right in the corner on both places. Needs to have some taken out. Right in this area on both of these. So what I'm going to try to do is use a smaller mill even yet and see if I can get in there and hog that out a little better. Well, this is another used face mill. It looks like this one was sharpened on the face. Of course, I can't use any kind of a hole down in it. But we're going to try to just see if this one will do us any good. I think it's going to be able to take some of them corners off a little bit. We'll see what will happen with this mill. It may want to come out without a drawbar in it to hold it. We'll see. Well, this end mill did pretty good, considering it doesn't have a drawbar for it. But we've got a fairly nicely hogged out thing. I've got enough meat on there, I believe, to still got just the corners. I'm going to try just straight filing this stuff, and rather than trying to put a smaller mill even yet in it. Nah, I'm going to try a small mill. I think I've got one that'll maybe cut that open some more. Alright, I gave this one a go, and it turned out that my little collet here was hitting my vise back here in the back, so I had to move everything out. Same deal. Collet's still hitting the vise. The only way that's going to work is if I turn the workpiece around. I'll try that and see what happens. Alright, that's about a 3/8. I'm just raising it, feeding it straight in, straight up. Seems to be cut really nice. Thousandths off of the tool edge there. This might have been the way to do it in the first place. Looks like it's getting a little hot. Cross feed it here. Go over to the other side. Pick up that. Looks like I might be walking out of my live center. Yep. I have to reset that. Yeah, looks like that little one's doing real good. I'm just feeding it in real slow here by hand. Smoke. Down a little bit. good. Well, it's vibrating quite a bit. And I'm going to just go in until I touch off here, and then take it straight down. Yeah, that's cutting pretty good. Old used in mill. Not very sharp. But I think it accomplished the job that I was looking for here. See how well the nut fits now. Actually, it don't look too bad. You can see this little edge right there. It's really the only thing stopping that from going down. Just one little piece. So probably if I just pull this up to the touch off here on the edge of the cutter. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Not the easiest. Yeah, I'll just touch off right there and then go straight down with it. See if I can take out that little edge. It looks like this is loose again too. Yeah, it's not even really in the end mill again, or in the driver. I'll see if I can snug all that up and give that one more try. Well, that's what I did. I just touched it off. I'm just bringing it straight up right now. I'm not going very fast. Take it across. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Maybe a little more. Good enough. A lot of work here just to make a wrench. Well, there we go. Awful ugly and sloppy and a lot of work. Made the same mistake again. I tried to go right 2-dimension, and I'll have to always remember to get close to the dimension, and then on the final cuts move it out to where it will fit. It's a little loose, but as far as a wrench goes, that's all I want to be able to do is tighten up that this pinion that, or arbor that's going to go into this. And this little cutter here seems to work. It's not, it's an old rusty one. I've got some new ones. Mostly I'm just trying out these different things and seeing how they work and what kind of feeds and stuff I can get with them and so forth. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to try to just take a finishing pass across the top of this thing, and just for fun of it, see what it I'll just touch it off there and put it on manual and see how far it'll run in before it kicks off. Alright, I've got a little score about 3/4 of an inch into the collet. You can see it there a little bit maybe. So what I've done is I've actually set up a drill bit or a boring bar clamped into the vise, and what I'm going to try to do here is figure out the angle of this Brown and Sharp 9 taper, and run a little boring bar in there and see if I can't just clean up that angle just a little bit. Hopefully this will take that score out of there, and I've got this set on 0 right now. If I calculate it out, it's probably a 2-degree angle, 1/2 inch over 6 inch. I don't know what that would be, the tangent of the base of the triangle or something. Anyway, I'm going to try to figure it out and see if I can just clean up that little score inside this mill. Ain't one thing, it's another. Turn on the motor, hit my run button and the speed, nothing. So it's either in this phase converter box or something in there is messed up. I don't know. So now I gotta try to figure out what this is and why the motor ain't running. It was running fine yesterday, and then today it's not. Well, can't believe that. Lucked out. Pretty obviously just one wire just came off of the switch. I don't know who wired this up. Just a bunch of loose wires. I should do something about that. But for right now, I'm just going to hook it back up and see if it'll run again. Well, that should have fixed something. Looks pretty good to me. Got everything all set right. Got a couple degrees of angle on here. I'm just going to go in here and touch this off. And pull it out. Looks like I might not have enough angle on it. Put this camera down and see what I did take out of it. Well, that didn't work out too good. I don't have the right angle there. I've got the rough part taken out of the spindle. But so what I'm going to do is use this little limit indicator here now, and I'm going to run it in there and try to set this angle down here on the bottom to be the same, so I can take at least a fairly decent pass right there in the front. Get rid of that mess I made. See what happens. Well, I've tried this, and see, that's, I really just don't have enough travel. Half an inch or so. It's not moving at all, then it jumps. And right there should be 0. And I can't really tell what's going on. So what I'm going to try to do is, I know I've got some good tapers here. Hopefully I'll have one that'll stick out far enough that I can run the mic on the outside of the taper, and perhaps set my angle that way. Alright, I kind of got that. Realized it wouldn't make any difference what angle I changed this. When it started to cut, it'd pull it straight out. So the only thing I would be doing was changing the angle of the bit. But anyway, I've got that kind of hogged out there around where it was scored. Maybe a little small, but I'm gonna just run some emery cloth and stuff there and try to polish it up. And I think the only real solution is to take this whole thing apart and mount it in the lathe and rebore that. Or the other option, of course, is to get a Brown and Sharp number 9 hone and try to hone it again. But it's only just a little bit right here in the front, and I think I've got all of the high spots out of it. Low spots are not going to really bother me too much. It's the high ones that are going to mess me up. So I'll try to clean it up a little bit and press on. Well, after all that, kind of back in business. My idea here is just to mill a flat on this arbor collar here so I can get a wrench on it, and we'll give that a go and see how it turns out. Yeah, it's taken off 10 thousandths like nobody's business. Not even not doing anything. Yeah, we're going to run 20 thousandths in this time. Let's see, there's 10, 20. We'll give that a go. Same thing. This is a pretty good setup with a big live center. Looks pretty good. I'm going to take another 20 just for fun of it. 10, 20. I'm not going to any particular size here. just getting a big enough flat place to get a wrench on. This wrench I made yesterday was more of an experiment in milling and some of the parts I had. I don't really know what size it is. I should probably just spend a few bucks and buy a big crescent. But this looks like it might be enough flat to get a wrench on. That's good enough. Now I'll just flip it around and put a piece of shim stock or something under it so I get them exactly opposite each other on these turning surfaces. Well, looks like everything's working hunky-dory. All I'm doing right now is I'm just running this little palm rim vise through here. I tried milling it with a different cutter before and I got it close. But this is my best cutter so far in the setup with a live center and everything. And so I'm just milling this. Plus I had pull down bolts on it. And now it's all bolted real solid with T-nuts. Looks like it's definitely machining it at a nice, even shade, color, surface, whatever you want. Yes, smooth as silk. Can't even see where the vise ends there. Yep. That's probably as perfectly parallel to the spindle as I'm ever going to get with that vise. Just I got one jaw that's good. The top of the jaws are good. So that kind of ends this little section of the video. Trying to do some stuff. I've got this bolt here, or this shaft here, flats milled on it, so I can use a wrench to tighten it up or hold it so it won't turn in the spindle. I got a big wrench made for the other end. I'll probably just buy a big crescent. But at least this part of the video of checking out the spindle and a few various cutters, it's out of the way. My next project here, I'm going to have to go back in here and rewire some stuff and bring some electric over here and hook up a light and some other things. But that's good enough for now. So I'll get this all edited and posted, and this will be video 3 of setting up and using a little horizontal mill. I'll see you guys later.